As they traverse through the woods, Shayna keeps making a wailing sound, which annoys Tara. Despite Tara's repeated requests to stop, she keeps making the sound, eventually pushing Tara to take her blindfold off and abandon the experiment. Shayna only wanted to test Tara to see if she could identify the sound, but realizes that she may have made a mistake. Carmen and Joy are engaged in their exercise until Joy hears Derek's voice, frightening her into taking the blindfold off. Joy looks at Carmen, realizing that she is not reacting at all to hearing Derek in the woods. Thinking that something might be wrong with their retreat site, she rushes toward Dr. Dunley, furious about the uncertainty of where they are. Dr. Dunley reassures her that this is all part of the treatment for the benefit of the group. Joy is still angry at the doctor, but Carmen escorts her away so the two can talk in private. Carmen confronts her best friend about why she is acting so odd. To her, Joy seems to be justifying her discomfort by blaming it on the danger of not knowing where they are, but she insists that something more is wrong with Joy. Finding out that Joy is hearing Derek's voice in the woods, Carmen blames it on her constantly reminding herself of her trauma. Hearing such an insensitive remark, Joy walks away in anger. Meanwhile, Tara seems to have disappeared. Tara is alone in the woods, pulling out her cigarette box to feed her nicotine craving. As she begins to light her cigarette, she notices someone through the trees and sees her hands covered in blood and bound by zip ties. Hallucinating, she turns away, bumping into Joy and startling herself. Tara seems to have seen someone, to which Joy also becomes even more paranoid. Tara admits to being delusional in the past, possibly explaining her current vision as another hallucination. She inspects her wrists, exposing markings where she imagines blood from her delusion. Joy shares her experience of hearing Derek, but Tara insists that nothing is wrong, then walks back to camp. The two traverse their way back, when Tara is suddenly alarmed by something before her. The group is inspecting the mutilated head of a deer, further inciting fear among some of the members. Dr. Dunley insists that everyone is safe, then prompts the group to stick together and make their way toward their next destination.
What are
The
you
group keeps on
stealing,
moving as
boy?
Tara talks to Dr. Dunley about something, and Joy stops as she hears the sound of Derek's lighter. Suddenly phasing out, she jumps back to reality after Carmen calls out to her. Joy then asks about Tara, but Carmen cannot share such a secret as it is not hers to share. They are now at the top of a steep and rocky slope. Joy looks down, annoyed, but eventually begins making her climb down. She still feels like she is being watched, but she follows the rest of the group anyway.
God,
The
is
group
this,
is now
like
on
90% of the movie?
They all feel the different stones, relishing in the textures, except for Joy. Joy begins to hear voices, clearly disgruntling her further and further. Eventually, Carmen calls out for her, and Joy looks around one last time to see if someone is actually watching them. The group takes a break together. Joy thinks about a past experience with Derek from some time after her incident with him. Shanna tries to interject herself into their conversation, but Dr. Dunley shuts her down and sends her away. The two then talk more about Tara, who finds herself more at peace in the wilderness. Carmen is making her way back to the rest of the group, smiling about something as she does. Suddenly, she realizes that someone is watching her. Joy, now completely alone, feels someone nearby as well. Thinking that Carmen is trying to tease her, she looks around, only to find Carmen nowhere. Joy is now concerned that a stranger is nearby, becoming increasingly scared. She hears the sound of the lighter and her dog from behind her, but sees no one there. She keeps turning until she eventually sees Derek in the woods. However, she is only hallucinating as he disappears immediately after. These visions force her throat to close up, making her grasp for her neck. She is having a panic attack, but Carmen is able to get to her before the situation gets worse. She brings her back to the rest of the group, where they sit her down, and everyone helps her.
Oh, man. What is this?
Tara looks at Joy in disbelief, having had the same nightmare. The three realize that something peculiar is going on, so they decide to sleep together in the same tent. The morning starts with the sound of Shayna banging on pots to sound an alarm for everyone at camp. Joy wakes up and finds that Tara is missing, when suddenly Shayna's scream is heard from near the creek. The food they stored before is now gone, so the group starts panicking that they do not have the bare necessities that they will need for their survival. Dr. Dunley thinks it's a prank, so she deduces that Tara is having an episode and pranking the rest of the campers. The doctor leaves on her own, looking for their missing group member. She walks through the woods and starts hallucinating, like Tara and Joy. The group hears Dr. Dunley scream, in response to which Shayna immediately runs toward the source of the sound. Joy and Carmen run after her, and the three try to find Dr. Dunley. They see weird marks on trees, bare scrap, and blood as they traverse through the woods. Further losing her composure, Shayna decides to keep pursuing Dr. Dunley. Carmen and Joy protest, but she moves forward anyway. Shayna climbs onto a rock with the bear spray in her hands when she suddenly sees food in front of her. She looks around and begins hallucinating. She starts imagining being back on the battlefield, melting down as she falls deeper into delusion. She crawls around, as if she is cowering away from gunfire, but the sight of other soldiers forces her to take a wrong stop and fall off a cliff. Joy and Carmen see Shayna as she trips over, making their way to inspect the ground near the cliff. They cannot spot her, so the two climb down to get a better look. They find more blood, a little smeared over the rock wall where Shayna fell down. Joy and Carmen cannot find her body, meaning that Shayna might have gone somewhere, so they walk away from the cliff until they find a cave. They climb inside the cave, finding more blood inside. Deducing that the answer to all their questions might be inside, Carmen gets prepared to go inside the cave and possibly confront the creature responsible for the blood trail that they have been following. She equips a sharp wooden club and uses a lighter to light their way through the cave. Inside, they find Tara stuck inside a wooden cage. Freeing her, Tara is completely out of it, mentioning that someone else is also in the cave. Regardless of Tara's warning, Carmen's courage takes over as she searches for the others. She finds Dr. Dunley inside a shallow ditch, covered in blood and injured. Realizing that Dr. Dunley cannot move, she tries to make her way into the ditch when she starts hearing some noise, and a monster swipes the doctor away. Carmen is shaken up immensely at first, but she immediately moves away as the monster seems to now be in pursuit of her as well. The monster is right behind her as she commands that Joy and Tara both run away. Eventually, Carmen finds herself on her back, cowering away from this monster. It shows her the appearance of this creature, a misshapen humanoid with blood dripping from its face. Outside, Joy inspects Tara's injuries.
Goodbye.